Behind home plate, we bringing it to them all day. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Win or lose, we bringing it to you always. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Orange or black, we rebuild the pack. No matter where we at, you know we coming back. Section 336, we on this, so tune in. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Yeah, welcome to Birdland. You know what's up? Welcome to Birdland. Now, here come the boys from Section 336.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Baltimore sports fans of all ages, welcome to Section 336, Next Generation of Baltimore Sports Talk. I am your endearing string host, Matt Soroka. As always, joined by the button lover and a guy who called the Orioles asking for his opening day tickets to be returned because Jackson Holiday is not there, the button lover, Josh Soroka.
Oh, we'll get into Jackson Holiday, I'm sure. I had a little panic there. Good thing our intro is about 2 minutes because I don't know if you noticed anything on your end, but my little soundboard here completely crashed as soon as I hit our intro music.
Oh, no.
Like, everything went down. I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't.
Oh, wow.
Mic wasn't working, and I just watched as it did the little reboot bar to boot back up, and it booted right back up.
That's a fast boot.
Yeah. And right while you were doing the your standard greeting and welcome is exactly when I started to hear things mid-conversation. So
you don't think fans should get their money back since Jackson Holiday won't be there?
I believe if you go listen to last week's episode, I said Jackson Holiday would not be on this team.
Oh, you said that?
No, I did not say that. I did not.
Hold on, because I got a recording here for you, Josh. Let me see if I can find out.
Yeah, you don't have a recording.
Oh, man. I wish I knew how to record things.
I was going to say, you didn't do any prep work.
My recordings. Oh, here we go.
Tyler Nevins. By the way, 0 chance Nick Madden makes the correct. Tyler Nevins, 0 chance also.
Okay, I just want to play that little clip.
Oh, because Tyler Nevins made
Nevins, 0 chance. Just want to hear Josh quote us saying Tyler Nevins, 0 chance. And Tyler Nevins on the roster. All right.
For today, let's see if he makes it by Thursday.
Okay, it was day by day.
I think there's still time. The roster's not finalized yet, but But hey, it's we got like 4 days until we fly up to Baltimore for opening day.
Yep, and even though Jackson is not going to be there, we still decided to go.
Yeah, I'm excited that Colton Cowser made the team. That's a great story for him, and him asking reporters to hold off on tweeting it until he could call his parents and tell them.
Yeah, and the reporters, I guess, respected that.
Yeah, they gave him like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I would have been the first out with that story.
I am shocked that they didn't. Yeah, I'm shocked that one of these reporters didn't tweet it like mid-sentence while he was saying it.
Yeah. So we have opening day. We have finalizing of rosters. We have our bold predictions. We have the holiday stuff. We have some Peter Angelos news. We got a lot to talk about here today.
I know. Normally we spend like the whole episode on bold predictions, but I totally forgot. We also have Peter Angelos. You're right.
Yeah.
It's
been a busy week here.
What a way to start a new season.
Yeah.
I saw there was one of the local beer companies that was releasing a commemorative beer on this about the sale of the Orioles for opening day called Adios Angelos. And now I think it's a little bit more awkward.
It is a little bit awkward.
Has passed.
Yeah, it's a little bit more awkward.
All right, so where do we start? Do we start how the week went? Do we start with Peter's passing? Do we start with? We don't want to start with bold predictions. Do we start with Little League? How's your Little League been? Where do you want to go?
Well, let's start with Peter Angelos.
All right.
Let's start there. And I have a Little League update. We had our first game, and it was a disaster. So, but I don't want to start there because I'm going to be irritated for the rest of the episode. So let's start with Peter Angelos. The legacy I've seen a lot of people talking about this is kind of what people say. The legacy of Peter Angelos is complicated. And whenever anyone says
that's all right, that's a reporter.
It's a bit of a red flag to say, we want to say nice things, but we understand that this guy had a lot of
and I think
a complicated past.
Yeah, but I think it's more of a generational difference on at what part of fanhood you became an Oriole. Because there's people who say, when you look back at Peter Angelos as Orioles owner, people have a lot of opinions, and a lot of those opinions are just flat wrong and what they've just assumed. Like to say Peter Angelos wouldn't spend money when we know that wasn't the case. And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Where in the 90s, we were one of the highest payrolls in baseball. The fact that Peter Angelos went and bought the Orioles at an auction to make sure they didn't leave the city of Baltimore.
Yeah, no, he was competing against a Cincinnati guy,
right?
And he wanted to make sure that the ownership stayed in Baltimore.
Yeah, I think it's a guy that owns the St. Louis Cardinals now.
Oh, really?
Part owner. But yeah, he wanted to make sure to keep it here, and that's one thing.
And by the way, Angelo's self-made billionaire, right? Like he wasn't born into money. Kind of he became a lawyer. The obsessed, everyone knows kind of his lawyer stuff, but like paid for himself to go through law school in Maryland, and then bought the team. At the time, I was reading this, Josh. I forgot. I didn't know this. That Angelos, because it's a lot is made. They bought the team for like $173 million, and how much he sold it for. A tenfold increase. But when he sold at the time, it was the most anyone had spent on any sports franchise. It surpassed what Jerry Jones several years ago had paid for the Dallas Cowboys. So he did pay more than anybody else for the Baltimore Orioles, more than any other owner at that point.
And specifically to keep it in Baltimore. He's also probably donated more money to Baltimore University of Baltimore and Baltimore hospitals and Baltimore-centric things than anyone else. There's a ton of Angelos money that's been donated into the city.
Yeah, I don't know those exact figures, but yeah, that makes sense to me.
So
all that stuff's good. Now, there's some bad stuff too.
All right, what's the bad stuff? Because I think, and we've talked about it before, I think that Peter gets a bad rap. And I think I can think of a couple little bad things, but I think the bad things have been overblown to be like, he did those things, so let's make it that everything he did was bad. And let's walk out and free the birds from Peter Angelos and all that crap with Nestor. I haven't seen what Nestor had to say this week. I should check in on that.
Yeah, I haven't seen what Nestor had to say about things in months.
Or years. Yeah.
Maybe years, yeah. No, I think Angelos, the criticism, I think for Angelos, and I think there's a couple things. One is his over-involvement in decision-making.
Yes.
And we could throw out specific examples.
You know you're right. I've got two. John Miller is my first one.
Yep. The firing of John Miller, who is a legend behind the mic.
Correct. Because he didn't bleed black and orange.
Right. He wasn't a homer.
Yes.
Yeah, he wasn't enough of a homer, which is dumb. And we saw similar echoes of that with the Kevin Brown thing. Yeah.
Right. The going around Duquette and signing Chris Davis. Was that Peter or John?
No, that's Peter.
All right. I thought that was Peter. So that would be the other negative that I wrote down, is that you cannot go around your GM and sign a guy that's going to lock up that much money on your team.
Yeah. I mean, he's also, if you recall, this is going back a ways, but he several times meddled with the managers. Johnny Oates famously criticized. Everyone loves Johnny Oates. He got in with Johnny Oates and criticized him, and then was looking to hire someone behind his back and ended up firing him. And then more famously, David Johnson, the year he was named the manager of the year.
Right.
And that was kind of the end of those great teams in the 90s under David Johnson, and firing David Johnson for petty personal reasons.
Yeah.
So I think those are a couple examples where his ego got in the way,
right,
and hurt the team. So that's the one thing. And then there's a second big thing too.
All right, what's the other thing?
He didn't win very much.
Yeah, well, he did in the 90s.
Okay, but no World Series appearances.
No World Series appearance,
let alone a World Series win. And so it's and then if you take away the whole Cal Ripken era, there's a long period of time when there was very little to cheer about in Birdland,
Correct.
right?
No, there was definitely a dark period. For
Which reflects on
14
ownership.
years of dark period, which is definitely reflects on ownership. Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So I think.
So you're saying it's complicated?
Yeah, it's complicated.
It's complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think we also saw anyone who did not like Pete Angelos got a taste that things could always be worse with John Angelos. So
correct. Now, that brings me to opening day. They will have a moment of silence for Peter Angelos. It'll be up on the board. Screens go black. Moment of silence.
Don't they remember everyone who's passed in that year?
They
opening
do.
day?
They do.
And so he'll be part of that montage.
And
probably, right?
yes, well, that montage will end with Peter Angelos. It has to. And the question is, how will fans react? Will fans be respectful? Or remember, the opening day crowd's a little different. It's not all long-term guys.
Right.
It's short-term young kids. There's alcohol involved. How do you run this as the Orioles and make sure that the fans do not look stupid by booing Peter Angelos?
Yeah, everyone around the organization has said the right thing, right? There's been no like outrageous quotes by Hyde or Elias or other people. They've all said good stuff.
And you have to.
That you expect them to.
Yes.
Right. And all things I think that also that like are not lies, like the impact that Peter Angelos made in Baltimore.
Right.
I don't think they're lying about it. So I think we both agree that the appropriate response is certainly not to boo.
No,
even if you don't like him, you don't boo a guy who has recently died. I don't know if you really counts as booing him when he's no longer existing. So I don't know. You're really not booing him. You're booing his memory, I guess.
But I mean, how do you make this?
I don't think people
my
boo
question.
him. I can't imagine that.
How do you make this not awkward? Let's say people do not boo Peter Angelos. Yeah. Do people cheer because he's dead? How do you make this not awkward?
Well, no,
for a fan base that has such a complicated relationship with their owner, where you have to do something on opening day, but you've avoided going to the stadium for years because you were sick, and before that, you avoided it because of the fans' outrage. What do we do? If you ran the Orioles, how would you handle this on Thursday afternoon?
I mean, you just do a moment of silence, right? And then people are silent.
But are people going to be silent, or are people going to boo, or are people going to cheer?
Especially if you're concerned about it, you lump it in with everybody else, and so it's one moment of silence for all these people who have passed.
I get that, but I think you have to, at some point, have just Peter on the screen, because out of everyone that passed, he's the biggest.
Okay, I don't think people will boo,
and I don't. I mean, all right, we'll see.
We'll see.
There's going to be some booing. There's going to be some cheering because he's dead. It's going to be awkward no matter what. And we'll see. And we'll report back next week.
Yeah, we'll report back. I'm not. I mean, what do you do, Josh? Do you boo or cheer?
Well, I would just be quiet. It's a moment of silence.
I think that's the appropriate response.
I think there's people younger than you and I that will do one of the other.
Yeah. No. I'm not booing. I'm respecting the moment of silence. I'm respecting
you are saving your
history.
You are saving your booing for Tyler Nevins.
I'm saving my booing for Tyler Nevin for taking Jackson Holliday's roster spot. That's where my focus is on.
Right. All right. But it's such weird timing too for him to pass now. Like, he's been sick for years and years and years.
Yes, it wasn't a surprise.
It wasn't a surprise, but then for it to happen right during the transition of ownership approval, trade changes, and everything, and the Orioles also, was it the day before, or maybe it was the day after, they've got a new video series that they're going to start on YouTube on Thursday called The Next Chapter.
Okay.
Again, seems a weird timing.
Yeah. Well, this is in many ways
Angelos chapter.
Yeah, it is in many ways the close of the Angelos chapter.
It really is.
new ownership. It seems like a new chapter for the Orioles and new winning ways.
But thanks to Peter, the Orioles are still in Baltimore, and the last thing the Angelos family did was sign an extension to keep him here for even longer. So all good things.
Yeah, so we're in good hands. Now, especially that we're out of the Angelos' hands.
Yep, almost.
All right, so Josh, the Orioles finalized their roster.
Well, no, not officially.
All right, unofficially, fine.
They cut camp down so that you can make assumptions.
Right. Assume they don't pick up anyone on the waivers, which is possible.
Right. Or make like a surprise move.
Yeah. Because other teams, we have let some players go. Other teams are also letting players go. So it's possible that we pick up someone from another team. Yes.
Today we let go your favorite, Ryan McKenna. Does he clear waivers?
I don't know. I'm sad that this could be the end of the Ryan McKenna era. I'm a big Ryan McKenna guy. I like him, and I hope he does stay with the organization. I think we can use the depth.
I would like him for depth.
Yeah,
I think there's a chance he stays.
Yeah,
but you never know.
I do too.
I haven't looked at I haven't looked close enough to the rest of baseball and how the outfielders are right now.
Yeah. So I think I mean, it makes sense, right? I'm certainly, I mean, you could argue it's a little bit weird that we have 3 first base / DHs now with Nevin and Mountcastle and O'Hearn.
Yes.
As opposed to the extra outfielder like McKenna could have provided.
Well, we do have Kowser as an extra outfielder.
Yes, he is.
And we've got Mateo in this super utility infield outfield guy.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how much they actually use Mateo in the outfield this year.
I think he gets into the outfield in the first week. I think they put him in the outfield early in the season to kind of show, hey, look, he is an outfielder. I just don't know what we've got. The Angels, and then who's after the Angels? The Royals. Royals. I think he goes in the outfield. One of those.
I mean, I'm curious to see how they use them. I guess we'll see. I'm not ready to say definitively either way. At this point, I would say I would be a little surprised if he plays there that much, but we'll see.
All right. Were you surprised? I guess let's go to the big one, Holiday. Were you surprised Holiday didn't make the roster?
Yeah, I think everybody was, right? We did our roster prediction show last week, and I got the whole offense right, except for the only one I got wrong was Nevins was skipped over Holiday. I think that was surprising.
Yeah, because like you look at a guy like Kerstead, he had a rough spring, so it made sense for him not to be there. Right. Holiday had a great spring.
Yeah.
He did everything he had to do. And Elias set this up as he'll be fighting for it and has a good chance. And we talked last week how you and I thought that Holiday, like he would have to play his way off the roster, and he didn't do that this spring. So what do you think happened?
Well, the quote by Elias was that he would have, and here's a quote, a very strong possibility to make the opening day roster. And so if you hear Elias say that there's a very strong possibility, you would think he would have to mess up in spring training, play poorly in spring training. Obvious red flags in spring training to show that. Now,
yes,
there's a lot of theories on what's going on here. One of the arguments is we open up against, I guess, 4 or our first 5 games against lefties or something.
Correct.
And he's a left-handed hitter, and he struggled a little bit in spring training hitting his left-handed.
Yeah, he was 2 for 15 against lefties.
Right, which is a bunch of strikeouts.
Yes.
The other argument is he did in spring training strike out more than he walked, though I think that's silly because if you look at his whole minor league career, his strike to walkout ratio is amazing. It's about equal.
Right.
Now, the other argument is he hasn't had a lot of time at second base in the minors, and so this gives him a chance to get more time at second base. And the last argument I heard for why this is happening, and I want to know any of these. Well, there's 2 other arguments people are making. One is, well, if you're going up against a bunch of lefties again, you don't want to platoon Jackson Holiday. You want him to be an everyday player. So you keep a guy like Nevins, who's not going to be an everyday player, so Holiday can play every day in the minors. And then the last reason I think people are talking about is have to do with service time and service time manipulation, all that stuff. What out of all those, Josh, or maybe I missed one? What do you think is the reason he was sent down?
I think service time is the absolute last. You can cross that out. I don't think it's about service time at all. I think it's about giving up players. I think it's that we've got. I think it's Ramon Urias. I think Ramon Urias is out of options. Ramon Urias is a good ball player. You don't want to just give him up for free. So you want to hold on to him. And you want to give him the opportunity to play, showcase for the possible trade, or the better option of it's easier to get him through waivers in 3 weeks than today.
Okay.
So that would be my thought, would be Ramon Urias is in the way and taking that extra infield spot. But you're right. But Nevins, I could totally see with Nevins, let's ride the hot hand. And Nevins is doing well.
And you're playing a bunch of lefties to start the season.
So
here's a hot-hitted right-handed hitter. We don't have a lineup with a lot of right-handed power hitters.
I understand. I would look at it as I understand the move because there's no rush with Holiday. He's 20 years old. He's going to be up this year. There's no rush to get him up. It'd be cool for the fan base to see him on opening day, but we have enough to celebrate. This isn't the dark ages where we got to be excited to go see this rookie play and showcase and get fans in the seats to see Holiday. There's no rush to bring him up. We have an infield, and the question is, does Holiday on this team make your team better today? And I think that's questionable. As good as Holiday is, especially going up with all these lefties, I don't know if it makes you better. Where maybe why not let Holiday go down? And like you were saying, it's a combination of your 3 or 4 excuses. It's no need to rush him. He can play every single day at Norfolk and get better and play exclusively second base so that he's ready to come up. And you've got guys who are hot right now that you can use a spot on this roster going in about these lefties and start the season strong, especially when you have a kind of a weak first month of baseball that you can really kind of take a dent and push on this.
Yeah, in terms of the roster, I think it does certainly make manager Hyde's job a lot easier in finding time for Ramon Urias and Jordan Westburg to get playing time with Jackson Holiday not there. Like that, because we assume Jackson Holiday will be your everyday second baseman.
Correct.
And he's going to keep that infield spot on lockdown. And so right now you have an opening for however they want to do it with Westburg at second or third. And so you have that opportunity for Ramon Urias and Jordan Westburg to play some more, and Mateo to play some more. And so it certainly makes manager Hyde's job easier getting those players in and working out the playing time.
Right.
But I don't think Elias would make a decision based on making manager Hyde's job easier. And I wonder about who's better right now for the team, because Jackson Holiday, I think, even given his struggles against lefties, you would have a hard time making the case that over any extended amount of time, I don't care if it's lefties or righties, over any extended amount of time, that Nevins is a better option on your team than Holiday. That's
right.
Doesn't
but
sound
I
right to me.
I think the extended period of time is the key word there.
Right, but don't you think Holiday would, like, it's not like when you're in the majors you can't learn. Like, he can continue to improve against lefties while playing in the majors. And I'd rather him have the adjustment period, because Gunnar had the adjustment period last year for the first when he was pressed in the first couple months. You're like, oh man, Gunnar, and then he turned it on. I'd rather those months happen in April, May. I don't want him coming up in June and struggling. I'd rather him have struggles if it is any struggles in April.
If Gunnar was not brought up last year, who played shortstop?
Last year?
Yeah. When Gunnar, all right. Is Mateo better than Gunnar? Was he at the time?
No.
All right. Now you're looking at bringing up.
Well, in April he was, just because Mateo was so hot in April.
All right. Yes. All right. Now you're looking at bringing up Jackson Holiday. Is Jackson Holiday better than today better than Ramon Urias or Jordan Westberg?
Yeah, I think so.
At the plate on both sides,
Yeah, I think so.
defensively at second base.
I don't know. I haven't seen him play enough, but I assume he's
Yeah,
a
see,
young,
I think
freaking
that's
athletic kid.
I think that's the problem is you're making assumptions because he's this like star,
Phenom.
a
Yeah.
phenom, and he will be. But I think he's not there yet. And I think you are better off. And I think what the Orioles looked at is we're better off with having the depth, knowing he's there, getting a little bit more time at second base every day rather than the platoon option. And we get to see Westberg and Urias. And we also happen to get to see Nevins a little bit as well and have him on the bench. I think it gets tricky if Holiday's up here. Which one of those guys is not on the team? It's easy to say Nevins isn't on the team.
Yeah, it is. And he's not.
Right. So then you've got a bench of Holiday, Urias, Westberg, Mateo. What do these guys do differently? How do they set apart?
Yeah.
And I think that's what they mean when they say we wanted the ball club to look a little different. And I think Nevins makes that look a little different, brings you more power on the bench.
That's fine, and we'll see. And it depends if you come. I don't know. We can talk about when you think Holiday's going to be caught up. But if Nevins hitting 300 when you're ready to call up Holiday, then Nevins probably won't be the guy who's cut. But if Arias is batting 200 something, there might be a tough decision to be made there. So that's going to be something to watch. Who's playing well when you're ready to call Holiday? Because I agree with you in the essence that, and maybe I'm too trusting here, but I don't think we're seeing the service time manipulation. Now, if this thing goes into like June or something, I still think if you check the bookies today, if I call my boy Otani and see what the bookies are saying, but I bet that Holiday would still be the favorite to win the Rookie of the Year, even though he's not starting.
Yeah. No,
so I think
you're right.
I think the majority of baseball thinks Holiday will be up soon and will still be in the running for Rookie of the Year. And so if that's the case, you're not going to get an extra year out of Holiday and his service time unless you really push it back and make it so he can't win the Rookie of the Year and all that jazz.
No, I agree. I have a date written down for Holiday's day up prediction.
Have you looked at the schedule to make sure the date works?
I did.
Oh, look at Josh. Little prep right here.
I did. If you remember, this is what we did the past 2 years.
Yeah, for
Adley. Part of our bold predictions would be when's Adley coming up? When's Gunnar coming up? When Grayson's coming up?
All right. So what's your date for Adley? I mean, I'm sorry, for Holiday.
Holiday, have you looked at the calendar yet?
Yeah, I have a date too.
Okay. My date is April 26th.
Oh, that's fun. That's exactly the date I was going to say. Now I feel like I have to make a new date. Yeah, against the Athletics.
The Athletics. It's a Friday night after a trip to Kansas City and a trip out west to LA.
And an off day on Thursday.
Right, an off day on Thursday. And it's originally I had up by May. Then I looked at the calendar and I was like, well, you have a homestand here with 3 against Oakland, 4 against New York. And then you got Cincinnati, Washington, Arizona, or Cincinnati, Washington on the road. It's like, this is a great time to bring them up. It gives you 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, something like that, where Holiday can get everyday playing time at second base. That's probably 15 to 20 games. Plus, that gets you through the Angels and the Kansas City twice with all those lefties. So you get Nevins and all his opportunities. And then you get real. Then it's all right. Let's lock and load. Let's put Holiday up there and let's keep pushing.
Yeah.
So you can pick a different date, but that's the perfect date.
Yeah. No, I feel like I'm gonna pick a day in May because I feel like this always happens, right? It's always like 3 weeks after.
Holiday's gonna get a strain on the 25th.
Oh, don't even joke about that. But that's your fear, right? That Holly was this close. We saw this happen to Grayson Rodriguez. We saw it happen to Adley Rutschman, right? Both those cases, they were ready to be called up, and then they had some kind of slight injury that set them back. Because that's the fear here, that you mess with this and Jackson Holiday gets hurt, and everyone says, well, would he have gotten hurt if he was with the Orioles? And so hopefully Jackson Holiday stays healthy. And that's the other thing, too. I don't know. Like, if an injury happens in those first 3 weeks to an infielder, is Holiday your first call up because of injury, or no? Is Holiday on the Holiday plan? No matter what happens,
No, I
you're gonna
think
stick to the.
if Urias hit a pothole tomorrow, then Holiday would be up here. I think
Yeah,
Holiday
because
is your next infielder in line.
I think so, because you respect, and I respect the prospect development that Elias is all about.
Yes,
But
but there's a point of who's better.
we're trying to win.
Yes, correct.
Right? We're competing for the division, and I don't think we're going to win the division by 5 or 7 or 8 games. I think this is going to be a tough division, and it's going to come down to the end.
Yeah.
And so these games in April matter. And honestly, you look at the schedule, we should be stacking wins in April.
Yeah, exactly. April's the easy schedule. I believe I was looking. June is when it gets June is really tough. Yeah. June is the Rays, Blue Jays, Rays, Braves, Phillies, Yankees, Astros, Cleveland, Texas. All those teams are legit playoff contenders.
Yeah, it's brutal. That's June's brutal, but
and it's one off day in June.
But the month of April is a joke.
Yes, April's when we need to see. April needs to be like our spring training. Did you see our final spring training numbers?
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, Josh. If you think that portends anything, is the fact that we crushed spring training, does that matter at all?
I don't know. I think it has to. I think what it does is it says good things about our farm system and our depth, because at spring training you see a lot of depth and a lot of prospects and guys playing. So the Orioles end spring with a 23-6 record. It's the highest win total and winning percentage in Orioles history. It's the highest MLB win total since 2017 and the highest MLB win percentage since 2016. So
do we get a medal for this? Do we get some kind of plaque at least?
Right. We get a trophy. No, we won the Grapefruit League. I don't know, because I always say I don't care about wins in spring, but it is cool to have a team that wins even if it's spring.
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, silly because several of those guys are now not even with the organization anymore.
Correct.
They've opted out, guys like Teheran and Wong. On the other hand, though, I agree with you, Josh. I think it shows how deep we are. We can do split squad games and we can win. We can go our full squad and win. I think it shows how much talent we have, how many good baseball players we have on this roster, kind of up and down the roster, that you can play. I mean, that's not a small sample size, right? It's not like one series. It's 29 games.
Correct.
And we won 23 of them.
Yeah.
That's something. I don't know. It might not translate into, an 800 winning percentage in the regular season,
right,
but it does say something about the talent on the Orioles in the Orioles organization.
Yeah, it's not nothing.
Right. I agree. It's not nothing. And we should get a trophy.
A trophy? You want a Little League trophy?
Yeah, something. All right, so that's that. That's the holiday talk. So we both expect just a small little time, few weeks, month at the most at Norfolk, and then get them up here. Are you ready to do some bold predictions now?
Time now for bold predictions. Time now for bold predictions.
Should turn the loop off. But yeah, you ready for some bold predictions?
Yeah, I suppose.
All right. Then let's start with our Orioles win-loss total for 2024.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, this was a lot more fun when the Orioles were terrible and we would say like they'd win 90. Now the bold predictions feel less bold because they're already so good.
I know. We've been doing bold predictions, whatever. This is 10, 12 years of bold predictions. And it used to be Bert would yell at us because we're doing it in our orange color glasses. Yeah. Now the entire world has orange color glasses.
Yeah. Now orange color glasses is like just being realistic. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you're right. It's not. These bold predictions used to be crazy talk, and now they're realistic talk.
Yeah, because my win total is higher than what other people are saying, but it's also less than what they did last year.
Mine too.
So I got 100 wins.
Okay, and I've got 98 wins.
Okay.
So right there, yeah, and I don't think it's not a step back because the team's worse. It's just a step back because I think luck goes one way or the other, and you happen to win or lose a certain amount.
Yeah. You have them win the AL East at
I
98
do.
wins?
I do.
Too.
I have the Blue Jays in second, Yankees in third, Rays in fourth, and the Red Sox at the bottom.
All right. I got the Yankees and then the Rays and then the Blue Jays and then the Red Sox.
Oh, you've got the Blue Jays collapsing.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I think the Yankees, Rays, and Blue Jays are all good.
Which one of those teams do you have signing Jordan Montgomery?
Oh.
Isn't it unbelievable that he's still out, that he's still there?
Yeah, that's wild. I haven't really checked in the free agency market. Like Snell got signed, right?
Snell is signed, yeah. Montgomery's the only guy left.
It's just Montgomery.
Yeah. Well, of the star players, there's plenty of crappy players left.
Yeah.
But I assume the Yankees or Red Sox will end up signing Montgomery.
Yeah, the Yankees would make sense, especially with Garrett Cole might be out for a little while.
Right.
Seems like Garrett Cole is on the Cobb Radish treatment. I don't know if it's the same injury. I haven't read that much about it, but it sounds similar thing going on there.
I know. I did not like Elias's comments this week saying first half of the year for Cobb Radish.
Yeah. Well, I'm still nervous that this is going to turn into surgery.
Yeah, I know. All right, so we got our AL East. We both have us winning the AL East. How far into the postseason do you have the Orioles going?
I have us going to the World Series.
Me too. Who do you have us playing against?
Oh shoot! I got a. I was hoping for this last year. I got a Orioles Braves World Series.
I do as well. In fact, I went on Hard Rock today and put $50 down on Orioles Braves World Series.
Oh, what's the return on that?
2,500.
Nice. I hope it happens.
I hope so too. As complicated as that would be in our household.
Yeah.
It would mean someone in this house would win a World Series or their team.
Yeah,
but,
you possibly would have the future fandom on the line, right? Whoever wins,
right.
That's who I'm a fan of.
You're right. You're right. It's a little bit of that.
A lot of pressure there.
But yeah, I've got an Orioles Braves World Series this year.
All right.
And I'm not ready to declare that the Orioles win it, but I'm just at least declaring that we get to the World Series this year.
I would call that a good season, Josh. I would take that.
I would take that. Yes. All right. Let's see. Normally we'll go with the biggest surprise and the biggest disappointment. Do you have these prepared?
No, I just have a whole lot of bold predictions. But
all right, that's fine. I can turn my surprise into a bold prediction.
I can turn my bold prediction into a surprise.
All right. Well, this is our surprise bold prediction.
Okay.
My surprise guy for this year is Craig Kimbrell. That he will have an outstanding year, that he will get 33 plus saves and make a huge impact on this team. Okay. It'll be the most number of saves he's had since 2018.
Okay. I think that's bold. He's an aging reliever. So
I know.
I hope you're right.
That's my surprise.
Okay. My surprise is I got kind of a combination factor here. I think our team will finish in the top 3 in the AL for starting pitching. I think we'll have 2 pitchers finish in the top 5 of Cy Young voting. And my breakout star this year.
The top 5 Cy Youngs.
Yeah.
Burns and Rodriguez.
And so I'm going, Burns would be less of a surprise because he's won it before.
Yes.
I'm going Grayson Rodriguez as my biggest surprise breakout pitcher this year.
All right.
I really think the starting pitching has the potential to be a strong strength of this team. Assuming Kyle Bradish can come back. Assuming John Means looks okay. And then a top 2 of Burns and Rodriguez, I think it's going to be dynamite. So I'm excited about that.
Were you surprised that Wells is number 3 over Kramer in the rotation?
Do you think that means they think Wells is better than
I don't know.
Kramer?
Do you think that means it, or you think it's matchups based on
it's
who they're
probably
playing?
matchups, other things. So,
all right, I've got that the Orioles MVO will also be the league MVP, and I've got Gunnar Henderson winning MVP for the league.
MVP of the league.
MVP of the league.
Well, it's
Thank
certainly
you, Otani, for going to the National League.
yeah, it helps out the American League MVP race. I mean, this year he's only playing DH, so maybe someone else could win it. But long term, certainly everyone in the AL now has a better chance that Otani's not there. And yeah, I have a similar thing. I put that Gunnar and Adley would both finish in top 5 for MVP. So we got 2 pitchers in the top 5 for Cy Young and 2 players in top 5 for MVP. Here are my bold predictions. I got Gunnar and Adley both finishing in the top 5 for MVP.
I've got 4 players hitting 25 plus home runs this year.
Okay. I got to name them.
Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, Anthony Santander, and Ryan Mountcastle.
Okay. You look at our team. That's the one thing surprising is just look at our stats from last year. No one had 30 home runs all of last year.
No.
There's a lack of power hitting on this team.
Yes.
That's, I think, a little bit surprising at kind of first glance.
Well, I think it's a thing to look at, and I think it's something that the Orioles probably looked at it when the season ends and all the stat nerds and said, hey, guys, you got to work out. Let's turn these doubles into home runs.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue the new dimensions of Camden Yards and stuff, but like last year, we only had 3 players who had 20 or more home runs. Santander 28, Gunnar had 28, Adley had 20, and that's it.
Yep.
Now Mountcastle lost a bunch of time with the vertigo, so he probably would have had 20 if it wasn't for the vertigo.
Right.
But who else? So you have those 4.
Yes.
Is there anyone else who has the potential
to get 25?
Even 20. I know Mullins, a Hayes, O'Hearn.
Mullins always has the chance. He could have done it years ago. I'm very torn on Mullins. I wrote Mullins down under disappointments because I feel like Mullins could come really hard down to earth. I'm really concerned about Mullins this year.
Well, and he didn't have a great year last year either.
No, he didn't. He didn't. And he had that unbelievable year when he stuck to one side of the plate. And then last year, he did not build on that. Last year, he fell back down. And I really feel like he could collapse. We've got really good depth in Norfolk that could come up and fill in here. And Mullins could be on his way out.
Yeah, I mean, I think if seeing how guys like Colton Cowser plays, we know Kyle Stowers is there. We know further down Enrique Bradfield Jr. is there.
Yeah.
So it does feel a little bit like this season is a little bit of make or break for Cedric Mullins. He's kind of avoided being on the hot seat. I feel like not many fans have talked about him. But if he has another kind of disappointing year, I think very much we could be talking about looking at other options at center field going forward.
Correct. And
I wonder even if this year, if he'll move to more of a platoon situation more.
I think or at minimum, he moves to a corner with some of the guys coming up.
Oh, really? Like in the outfield?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, he's still the best center fielder we have on the roster.
Yeah, on the 26 man. But what about
I don't think Cowser or Stowers can play center field as well as
will Bradfield be ready next year?
Maybe next year. But Bradfield also is like 75 pounds soaking wet. Like he can hit a bunch of infield singles.
Yeah.
I don't think he still has to show that he can hit for average and hit for power. And Cedric Mullins, I think, is by far your best option at center field.
All right. Well, I'm really curious about Mullins. I think when you do lineup construction, he really drops in the lineup this year. And I'm curious to see how he does this season.
Yeah, I mean, they've tried Mateo at center field. So if you wanted to platoon Mullins and not play him against lefties, I don't know exactly what Mullins' splits are. I assume he hits better against righties. Then maybe you could run with Mateo at center against left-handed hitters. Something to watch.
Right. We both have Holiday winning Rookie of the Year, right? Like, I feel like that's silly to even make a bold prediction because it seems just inevitable.
Here's my stupid thing. So I did it with Cy Young's with MVP. I'll do it again. That 2 of the top 3 Rookie of the Year finalists will be Orioles. Two of the top 3.
All right, who do you have in there? You've got Holiday, and who else?
Well, right now it seems that Colt Cowser might be the one most likely to be there.
Okay.
Though I'm a big Heston Kjerstad guy if he can get the playing time.
Yeah,
So I just don't know if he's going to get enough playing time.
I've got Kjerstad up in June. I've got June written down for Kjerstad. I didn't pick a week, but I feel like he's one of those bats that they need him to get hot down in Norfolk, and then they'll bring him up.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't say which. I mean, it's going to be Holiday. And then I think either Cowser or Kjerstad. I guess Stowers can still kind of be an outsider too, outside chance of that. But I think Cowser's probably the most likely just because of playing time to be in that running.
All right. I've got 4 Baltimore Orioles in the All-Star game.
I got 4 too.
All right. Let's see if they match. Gunnar Henderson.
And your MVP, sure. Your MVO.
Yep. Adley Rutschman.
Yep. He's a lock.
Corbin Burns.
Yep.
And Ryan Mountcastle.
Okay, that's where we have a different 4th person.
Now Ryan Mountcastle gets really tricky as a first baseman because there's always big names, and if it becomes a popularity contest.
Well, and like really, home run numbers. And
well, I expect Mountcastle to have a huge year.
Okay.
That's my big prediction is Mountcastle having a huge year.
My 4th guy is Grayson Rodriguez. So going back to some of our big hits and
I mean, if these guys are Cy Young candidates, then yes,
they should be in the All-Star game. Yeah.
Correct. All right. I've got 3 Gold Gloves.
Okay, I got 2 Gold Gloves, which is cool because we haven't won a Gold Glove since it was a couple years ago when Ramon Arias won. And so we haven't been winning a lot of Gold Gloves recently.
No, I've got Gunnar Henderson.
Me too.
Adley Rutschman.
I don't have that one.
And,
too many wild throws to second base.
And Austin Hayes.
Oh, interesting.
I'm giving it to Austin Hayes out in the left field.
All right.
Who was your other Gold Glove?
Jackson Holiday at second.
Oh. No, the whole point is he hasn't played enough second base. That's the whole point of the
And my whole point is it's BS. He's a freaking athlete who's playing shortstop. I think he can move over to second base and be really good. So I think it's BS that he needs to work on his second base. I think he's an athlete and he's played short so often he can adjust and play second. It's not a big deal.
All right. Do you have any other bold predictions over there?
Yeah. I got
all right, let's hear some of yours.
Okay. And I stole this one from a website is where I saw it, and I was like, yeah, that's a good one. So
that reminds me. When we're done, I asked ChatGPT for some bold predictions, and let me share them with you at the end.
Okay. Camden Yards, they will attendance will exceed 2 million for the first time since 2017.
That sounds totally doable. No problem.
Last year, I have the numbers kind of right up here. Last year, they were at 1,900,000. So,
no problem.
Or 936,000. So you just got to get like 70,000 more.
Yep.
And the year before that, they were at 1,300,000. So they had a huge jump up, which would make sense, right? In their great year. So I think they'll jump up to over 2 million.
Yeah. Yep. That makes sense.
Yep. So that's one of them. How about this one, Josh? And I saw RDT tweeted this too. This could be the year where someone hits the warehouse.
No chance. No chance.
There's no chance?
No, there's no chance. No chance.
The one who's most likely is Gunnar Henderson.
Okay. Yes. But you're telling me in all those years of steroids and Adderall, we could not hit the warehouse, and now suddenly everyone's all excited because we have a team that wins baseball. We can now hit the warehouse.
Josh, look at our roster through the 2000s. How many big power hitting left-handed hitters outside of Chris Davis we had? And Chris Davis was only this flash in the pan for a couple of years. We just didn't have very many. Now we have a plethora of power hitting left fielders, the likes of which we've never had before. So I think Gunnar, Kjerstad, a left-handed hitter, power is legendary if he gets enough playing time. Gunnar, certainly. I think it's possible.
Gunnar Henderson's longest home run is 462 feet.
Is that the one that set the record at Camden Yards?
The Camden Yards warehouse is... But
this is where it gets weird, Josh, because it doesn't matter how long.
Google just showed me how far the warehouse is from St. Augustine, Florida.
Oh, no. But I think it's like 430 or 440 feet. But the weird thing is...
439.
Okay, 439.
But
But
it's
the weird thing
also
is it's
up.
up higher, right?
Yes.
So you have to hit it high enough to hit it where you could hit it for whatever, for
So the question
450,
is,
but it doesn't hit it because it's not high enough.
Griffey's, have they done like a stat cast thing? Griffey's ball was the only one to ever hit it, and that was during the home run derby. I think
Right.
in 5 years, when the All-Star game comes back to Baltimore, I think multiple guys will hit it during the home run derby.
Yeah, but they also, I
don't-
think, use juice balls for the home run derby.
Yes.
All right, I'll send you a YouTube video, Josh. Have you seen the YouTube video about why no one's hit Camden, the warehouse?
Is it? I have not. I have not
Okay,
seen
I'll
the
send you that YouTube video. It's pretty good.
All right, why don't
Breaking
you share
down
it? Why don't you share it on
what-
Twitter so other people can see it as well?
Okay, it breaks down what the launch angle needs to be, what the exit velocity needs to be,
All right.
and how many balls were hit like that, and it's just interesting and what it would take to hit the warehouse.
Pigtown Sports on YouTube says Gunnar and Adley both hit one today at 460 plus.
Yeah. Now with the raised elevation of the warehouse, I don't know. It's weird. Like I don't know if it would be long enough,
Right.
to
I don't.
hit the warehouse.
All right, fine. You can have that bold prediction. I'm glad
All right.
we got something bold on your list.
All right. Yeah, it's for bold predictions here, right? It's called bold predictions.
Oh.
I got some more.
All right.
I think this year during the season, someone gets a multi-year extension.
Okay. I agree. Do you have a name?
Well, I've narrowed it down.
And how many years is multi-year? 2 years?
No. I mean like 7 or more.
Oh, okay. So you're saying we lock up a guy long
Yes,
term.
I'm saying
You're
Gunnar.
not saying we extend Hayes for 2 years.
No. I'm saying maybe like a
All right. So you're
7
saying
to 10 year deal.
you're saying Gunnar, Adley, or Holiday.
Yeah, or Grayson if you want to throw him in there too.
I would never give a pitcher 7 years.
The Braves do it.
Yeah, and all they do is win World Series.
I mean, I think, yeah. I mean, I think if there's certainly a greater risk for a pitcher, certainly even a risk for Adley. How is he going to age as a catcher?
Right. Well,
The obvious ones
can move
are
into first
Gunnar and
base.
Holiday.
Yeah. And the obvious ones, Gunnar and Holiday, are both represented by Scott Boras.
Yeah. But on the pitcher side of things, if you're Grayson Rodriguez, pitcher injuries happen a lot more too. So maybe
definitely
Grayson would be more likely to sign a long-term deal because of the risk factor.
All right.
So I don't know who. I mean, I think you can talk to all of them and see which one you're more likely to get.
Okay. All right. That's a semi-bold prediction.
Really?
Bold.
It's not a bold. Josh, when was the last time we locked up a young player to a multi-year deal?
Chris Davis.
Yeah, but I'm saying that was a free agent move. I'm saying
No, I know.
When they were a young player, like we should have done with Manny Machado. When was the last time we did this? The answer is kind of never.
Never.
And so you're telling me us doing something we've never done before is not a bold prediction.
I'm saying you not putting a name on it and saying, "Oh, I don't know, it can be someone."
Oh, okay, fine. Gunnar Henderson. He's the most obvious.
All right, Gunnar Henderson. All right, that
Gunnar
is
Henderson,
a bold prediction.
8-year extension.
I'm here for it. All right. I've got last other thing in my notes is I got Kobe Mayo not coming up until August. As much as I want Kobe Mayo up, I've got Kobe Mayo showing up in August.
Okay. Yeah, I put, this is my last one, I guess. I put that by August 1st, all the baby birds will be here. Or no, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. All the baby birds will be in the majors. Kobe Mayo, Heston Kjerstad, Connor Norby, Kyle Stowers, Jackson Holiday. I think that's all the big names. I think all those guys will be in the majors by August 1st. Maybe not all with the Orioles, but all in the majors.
Oh, okay.
Because the question becomes
how do you fit them all in?
Right. How do you where does Mayo fit? I mean, we're talking about the tricky fitting Holiday and how that makes lineup tricky. And you add Mayo to that. You add Norby to that.
Yeah, it gets tricky.
Right. So it makes sense that Norby could be traded.
Right.
And I think if Norby's traded today to over a dozen teams, he walks in as a starting second baseman.
Yes. No, it is. And because of that, you're right. It gets complicated because these guys are they're pushing up here. They're deserving to be up here. And they could start on many teams.
Yeah. Do you think with new ownership, I mean, part of my argument with a multi-year extension is
that's new ownership.
New
Yes,
ownership. I
correct.
don't think I would not make that prediction last year under Angelo's ownership.
No,
That's a
no, I agree.
new ownership. Do you think at the trade deadline things change with new ownership?
Where we're active,
Yeah, we're more
This is-
active for maybe some bigger names.
this is where it gets tricky because I'd like to say yes, but I also feel like we're going to be at the point of the trade deadline of where's our hole,
You're right.
and it's like,
And maybe
Yeah,
our
and
hole
it's like,
could be filled by Kobe Mayo, and so
well,
we
that's
don't.
what I was going to say. Maybe
might
the
be a better
hole
option.
is something that Kobe Mayo can come up or Kirsta can come up. So it gets tricky with that because I feel like, the hole is guys that are younger behind. Now, so I think we'll end up making moves like we did last year with bringing in an Aaron Hicks and stuff like that. Nothing fancy, just depth. But you never know.
Brandon Hicks.
Aaron Hicks.
Yeah.
Did I call him Brandon Hicks?
I think maybe I misheard.
I think you misheard. I had said
Okay.
Aaron Hicks.
Okay. No, so I mean, I hope. I mean, I thought the days of Adam Frazier were over, and Brugman Odor, but here we are with Tyler Nevins. So maybe these days aren't over. And I put kind of Hicks in that same vein that hopefully this year, if Mullins gets hurt or an injury happens, that becomes a Kauser or Stowers or Kerstedt opportunity or Norby opportunity,
Right.
but not a veteran free agent opportunity.
No, and you're right. And then the only way I see the Orioles making a big move at the trade deadline is if we have a rotation injury problem.
Yeah, or a bullpen
Or
issue.
a bullpen, a injury problem.
That's the most likely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I see it. I see a pitch and move, which would kind of be a, hey, we've got everything, but if we made this big move, we'd be there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Whereas, Josh, this past year, the trade deadline, it felt like we just need someone. I mean, we traded for Jack Flaherty. It felt very much like we just need someone who can we throw out every 5 days and eat innings.
Unfortunately.
Not necessarily someone who can
Correct.
upgrade.
No,
just
we want to
someone who can fill a spot.
Yeah, we just need a 5th starter. Unfortunately, Flaherty did not play well.
Right.
So,
and he wasn't the best option out there.
No.
There was much better options.
Yes. Where this year, I think we would get the best option.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, and that's because of my ownership difference change. If we needed the best option.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to come down.
If Burns and Rodriguez are pitching well and Wells is pitching well or Means, let's say we just have a hole in that 5th slot, then we don't need the best person available. We need a person.
Right. Well, a lot of this going to come down to the health and the ability to pitch innings for Bradish and Means.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. Oh, totally.
So a lot of it will come back to that because
Yes.
I think, assuming Burns is great, assuming Rodriguez is great, and then Kramer is fine. Kramer. It's going to come down to those 2 guys, Bradish and Means, and then the wild card always hears injuries, right? You never know what injuries will happen.
Yes.
But as our spring training, I think it's a testament to we have a whole lot of depth. Maybe not in the starting pitching. That would be the one area where like, okay, maybe we don't have a ton of depth there. But it seems like in other areas of this team, we can withstand injuries to the infield, to the outfield. Maybe not.
But
catching,
you say that,
but other spots.
Well, McCann is a perfectly legit backup.
Yeah, emphasis backup.
Yeah, and Basillo isn't going to be ready yet. But you say we don't have depth in starting pitching, but we have 2 guys. We're starting the season with 2 guys hurt, and I don't feel bad with Wells and Irvin starting the season.
That's true. And so then if those guys come back, the other guys become depth.
Right, which then suddenly gives we do have depth.
Yeah,
We're just going into the season using it.
Yeah, that's fair.
So is that all your bold predictions?
That's it. We went through them. Feel good about
Time
that.
now for bold predictions.
Well, not
These at the end of the season.
and bold predictions. So anyway, hey, share your bold predictions with us on Twitter and all your other social media stuff.
Absolutely. Curious to hear what you guys got.
Are you excited? I cannot wait to hop on this plane Thursday morning and get up to Baltimore.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to being back camping yards. I'm looking forward to
Back to
this
Camden
season.
Yards, games that matter. Like
Yeah.
going and seeing baseball, and it's like I like Sarasota. Watching baseball there is fun. I like watching the jumbo shrimp and stuff down here, but there's nothing like being in Camden Yards.
Oh yeah, and getting to see Corbin Burns on opening day, that's pretty cool. To see one of the best
that
pitchers
is
in
true.
baseball.
That is true. Who's actually on our side?
Yeah.
Normally they've always been on the opponent's side.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So
all right, do we have time for Little League talk?
yeah, we hit an hour, but yes, I heard that you had your first game this week, so I need to hear about it.
Yeah, it was just a nightmare from start to finish. A couple things no one ever told me.
All right.
This whole catcher's gear is complicated and annoying. These 8U kids.
Wait, putting it on or having to bring it to every game?
No, just putting it on.
Okay.
And having to keep it on.
Yes.
So it was kept on, it's old, broken down freaking equipment.
I lost mine, but yes.
My first idea was have Sass be a catcher, and like an idiot, I didn't have him try stuff on before, and we couldn't fit the helmet on correctly. He's got an abnormally big head.
Has he ever been a catcher?
No.
Okay.
But I see someone out there catch. No one.
True, and you don't actually catch.
No, you're way back.
Is this T-ball or coach pitch?
It's coach pitch.
Coach pitch or sling pitch?
Coach pitch.
Okay. All right. So you don't really need a catcher. The catcher just stands back, right?
Yeah. And so, but Sass couldn't get the helmet on, so he was upset about it. So I was like, fine. I had to make a last minute change in my roster. I had to put him on the bench and pull someone from the bench, put the catcher's gear on. And it was just a pain throughout the game to put this catcher's equipment on. Yeah. And then the game starts. And I said, someone asked me, and my assistant coach asked me before the game, it's like, what are your positions going to be? Like, what's the position? A couple days before he asked me. I said, listen, I don't know these guys. We're going to play everywhere. I'm going to do something the first few innings, then we'll switch it up. Outfitters will come in, and
that's appropriate for that age.
Yeah, I think it's appropriate. The other team, the opponent, the Braves, though, they had set positions for every single guy. And they were
at that age.
At that age, they had a pitcher,
right.
They had a shortstop, second base, and they were like a freaking well-oiled machine. And I should have known I was in trouble when I got there half hour before the game starts, and the entire Braves team was already in the field practicing, using the field. Should know I was in trouble at that point. But yeah. So the game starts off with, first of all, Sass is upset because the helmet won't fit, and I put him on the bench. And then the first inning, we just get kind of crushed. They score whatever the max is of runs, 6 runs. They're fielding everything and making the throw to first, like they're freaking all-stars. I think after the first 2 innings, they scored something like 10-2 or something. It's just ugly. And then I send Sass out to the outfield, and Sass gets all upset because he wants to play infield. I'm like, and it's partly my fault because Sass is still upset about the catcher stuff. And like, you know how it is, Josh. I can't use my dad voice. I have to be like
your coach. Yeah,
this is me as a coach saying, just go play left field because I need you.
Yeah.
I can't stop there and say, Silas, let me explain to you. Here's what we're doing. Here's what you need left. I just have to say, go. And he got upset with my tone as well, which is partly my fault, but also like, dude, I just need you to go play left field. So he was upset at that. And then, and then the hitting, the fielding, they were just the Braves just came to play. And then they did the stupid thing, which I hate so much. And maybe I just have to accept this is how the game's played. But because we had a catcher who didn't really know what he was doing, they just kept on sending runners around third and scoring. And like my shortstop would have the ball, and they would still wave the runners around third.
Because they know your guys didn't know what to do.
Because they know my guy, I didn't have a catcher who was covering home plate. I think that's Bush League, and I hate it. And I don't think it teaches them proper baseball. But that's just made the way things are. And to his credit, and I got into it with the other coach, and there was one incident where it was like the last inning, and the Braves messed up their defense. They like went away from their normal defense. And so my players could actually hit the ball and run around a little bit. So thanks, Braves, for letting us have fun the last inning. And their coach, who was like hanging out around my third base, their coach on one incident waved my player around third because I guess he saw their second baseman had it and he knew their second baseman couldn't throw it. So he started waving my guy around to third. And I had to step away from the pitcher's mound, run over the baseline, tell my player to go back to third base. and tell the coach not to talk to my players because what are you doing waving my players around?
Oh, so you're getting into it with the coaches.
Yeah, well, I didn't appreciate him waving my players around third. But again, maybe that's just how it's done at AU. We just keep on waving.
Do you
people around.
have an inning limit?
It's just a time, hour and 15 minutes.
No. Number of runs that you can score in an inning.
Yeah, I think it's like 6.
All right, yeah, we have a 5-run limit.
Okay, maybe
So
it's 5, and I think
sometime-
they met that every time.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the last thing was kind of fun because they messed up with their defense. So I guess they have to have a regular defense and put the best players in those positions. I didn't think I would have to do that. I thought we could kind of just have some fun here and let players try out different things. But then if we're going to get walloped, I guess I have to find regular positions.
Yeah. No, go with your let everyone have fun. You're way too young to be regular positions, and you're going to have that one team that does it, but I don't think you'll have every team that does that. I think if you talk to the other coaches, you'll find out that one team does it every year, and that's the one that causes the issues.
Well, and it was so upsetting, both my son's reaction because he got upset repeatedly, and then also the way the game was going was stressing me out. It was so depressing, Josh. I thought about, and the catcher gear was so annoying that I couldn't sleep after that night. That was Thursday night. I couldn't sleep that night. And I hated that I signed up to do this because it would be so much easier to just, not be primarily responsible for all this chaos. It would just be so Thursday I was regretting my life decisions, hating life, couldn't sleep about it. And then I woke up Friday and I was drawing up, practice plans.
Yes.
Ready to get at it. And we're going to play the Braves again a couple more times, and we're going to beat the Braves at some point this season. And for that, I'll get a regular defense just to play the Braves.
Yeah, and that's how I felt.
Yeah, now I'm kind of fired up and ready to go back at it.
Yeah, we had some bad losses this week on my team, but yeah, no, it's Little League is special. In fact, I still play softball, as you know, and you do too. And I told Kelly this past week. It's I don't even know if I want to play softball anymore. I get my joy now in Little League, where it's softball. I enjoy it when I'm out on the field, but everything else is just a hassle, and I really enjoy Little League.
Yeah. Though unfortunately, our second game is Thursday, so I'm going to miss our second game.
Oh, I will miss a game on Thursday as well.
Yeah,
but that's all right. I will miss whatever it takes to go see the Orioles.
Sacrifices you make to
support our day. Hey, real quick before we get out of here.
All right, we gotta get out of here. We're an hour
I know, but it's a big week, and I need to ask you about Ohtani.
Oh,
do you believe that it's Ohtani's interpreter that's making these bets, or do you think it's Ohtani? Because this is a lot of money for an interpreter.
Yeah, and it was a weird story how it came out too. First, it's hard to follow.
Well, it seems like the IRS caught the bookkeeper. Or the bookie.
Right, the bookie's in trouble.
And that has led to the interpreter.
Right, because they open up the books. Yeah.
Right, and it's at what point is the interpreter making these bets for Ohtani? That's how I see it. Now, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I've also, and then all the lies that come out about the interpreter, he said he worked for the Red Sox, but he never did. He says he went to college here, but he never did.
Well, isn't he Ohtani's best friend?
Yeah, and he's a friend of Ohtani's. So it's how does your interpreter embezzle $4 million from you without you knowing?
Yeah, and then there's some
and then it's
issues too. As the story's being revealed, Ohtani didn't realize what was going on because of the lack of understanding of English or something. So it's just a lot. So I have no thoughts on it because I think it's too. I'm curious to see what this investigation reveals. I think the MLB is going to investigate it.
Yes, IRS is investigating.
Yeah, so we're going to find some answers.
And Ohtani says he's going to speak to the media tomorrow,
which he never does. So
yeah. Which I think, and I don't think he's going to go up there and say it was me. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think he's going to go up there and say, "Hey, it's I'm not allowed to talk about it." Yeah. I think he won't say anything. Well, but I think Ohtani placed these bets.
Okay. Well, if there's any chance to not put the blame on Ohtani, I think everyone involved, including everyone in Major League Baseball, is going to do their best to make sure Ohtani can come away from this clean, because that would be an enormous scandal.
It would be a much bigger scandal than Pete Rose.
Right.
Yeah, but I think there's no way they put this on Ohtani, and I think in 20 years we have a documentary about how Ohtani did this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, on the other hand, it should surprise no one that it's surprising it took this long for there to be some gambling fiasco, right? Because
Oh yeah, because
MLB promotes it. You can do it everywhere now. It's become legalized in a bunch of places. This is not going to be the first or last story.
No,
about
we all
players
saw
and
this
gambling.
coming.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like, but all of sports have done this. They've all embraced gambling sponsorships and gambling stuff, but then they tell their players, well, don't bet on our sport. It's like, no, maybe let's not get involved in betting at all.
Yeah.
Might
I don't know what the rules are here for players either. I mean, I think this was illegal, even if it wasn't baseball, because he was making it with an illegal.
Yeah, it was an illegal bookie, and it was ridiculous amounts of money.
And the amount of money is
the amount of money is a big
insane.
flag. Yeah. So, all right. Well, you want to get out of here?
Yeah. I mean, I think the interpreter would have been okay if he would have bet all his money on the Orioles. I think he would have been better off. But
I think Ohtani should come out and say, "Hey, it was me. I thought I was just betting $400. I didn't know it was $4.5 million. It was just an interpretation problem."
Okay. Yeah, I think that'd be fine. My recommendation would be for him to take that 4.5 million he lost and just double down on an Orioles Braves World Series, and then he can make all that back.
Yeah, I like it.
That'd be my advice.
He should be like, guys, are you serious? Do you see the amount of money I get paid? Me losing $4.5 million is like you losing $100 at the track this weekend.
Yeah, it's also true. It is.
I know. Unfortunately, it's true.
Yeah. It's the same that you put down for that Braves Orioles.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. It's the $50 I just gambled an hour ago.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's all relative.
Yeah, it is. All right. Everyone, please check out Birdland Sports. I got some new shirts that came up today. I've got a Kobe Mayo shirt that's going to be up there in the next day or two, probably, maybe even tonight. And please continue to thank you for supporting that and continue to check out a lot of new cool shirts as the season starts this week.
Absolutely. You can also support the show by going over to Apple Podcasts and leaving us 5 stars and writing an honest review and sharing us on social media and telling your friends about the podcast as we get set for a fun season of Orioles baseball. The next time we talk, Josh, it'll be talking about actual baseball games. Can't wait.
I can't wait. Yeah, definitely spread the word. Everyone's interested in the Orioles and baseball right now.
Absolutely. And you can follow us on X. You can follow me at Section 336. You can follow Josh on X.
At Josh Roca and at Birdland Sports. And Section 336 on Instagram, TikTok, and everywhere else.
Thanks for listening, boys and girls. And as always, go O's.